What is up, guys? Welcome to another video, and today we have got another Ask Hippo, and to be specific, this is the 21st Ask Hippo. Now, if you've been watching this series since the start, just take a step back and think about that for a second. We've done Ask Hippo for 21 weeks. 21 weeks, with the exception we missed a few. That's mad. That's absolutely mad. 21 weeks we've been doing this consecutively. Give yourselves a pat on the back if you've asked questions in this series, because that is a lot of weeks. And this week is no different to any other week. We have lots of questions to answer. So without further ado, let's get straight into this week's Ask Hippo. Okay, so the first question is from RX Speedster, and he's got 3 questions. Number 1, do you even funky chicken? Number 2, thoughts on Sean coming back in Fast and Furious 8, and what do you prefer, the FD, which is the RX-7, or the BNR32, which is obviously the beloved R32. So, number 1, there's going to be a lot of funky chicken questions, which it's kind of awkward because everyone kind of already knows about it. If you don't know what that means, then basically watch my 1000 sub special. I'll put a link on this in the description to that video, and you can go watch it. But basically, that was an old channel I had, and that's just pretty embarrassing. But I'll link that in the description down below if you really want to watch it. My thoughts on Sean coming back. I'd be disappointed if they made it an 8th one. But if Sean came back, I don't know. I feel like his time has come and gone. If he was going to be in the Fast and Furious, in a Fast and Furious film, it would have needed to be Tokyo Drift 2, or he would have needed to come in a lot earlier. I think doing it now just doesn't make much sense. So, I mean, if they made an 8th one altogether, I think I'd be a bit annoyed, you know. So, I mean, honestly, if he did come back and they made an 8th one altogether, I think I'd be pretty disappointed. And obviously, FD or a BNR32, so basically the RX-7 or the R32. Obviously, it's going to be the R32 because that's my favourite car, so yeah. Okay, the next question is from the King of Rices, and he's got 3 questions. High RPM or lots of torque? Rear-wheel drive or all-wheel drive? And would you rather make out with Miley Cyrus or a Skyline R32 GTR? So, number 1, high RPM or lots of torque? I'd rather have lots of torque, personally, than a higher RPM. Well, it really depends, and I guess this counts for the second question as well. It depends what you want from the car, and this is going to get really technical now. So, yeah, like if you're going for a race car, then essentially you're going to need generally high RPM, generally. But then if you're just hooning around and you just want a fun car to go around in, lots of torque is definitely a lot better. And then with rear-wheel drive or 4-wheel drive, 4-wheel drive is better for like racing, like actually being planted to the floor. But rear-wheel drive, it's just more fun basically. It's more of a driver's terrain, if you know what I mean, in the sense that it's a lot more involved. You know, it's not as good for getting the fastest track times, but it's best for, you know, just having a bit of fun in it. It's the driver's terrain, so to speak. And would I rather make out with Miley Cyrus or an R32? Do you even have to ask about this? I would make out with an R32 anyway, so yeah. Okay, the next question is from Urban Daz, and he's got 3 questions. His 3 questions are: would you rather buy a train or a truck? What would you do if you were suddenly locked in a cage with CJ and Speedway? And does muscle beat import every time? So, number 1, what would you rather buy, a train or a truck? Definitely a truck, because you could probably do more with a truck. You know, I'm assuming if you bought a train, there's not much you could do with it, so definitely a truck. If you were suddenly locked in a cage with CJ and Speedway, what would you do? Probably just talk about deep, meaningful topics. But obviously, this will never happen now because Speedway's dead. If you didn't watch Drivecast yesterday, you wouldn't have found out about the tragic things that happened to Speedway. Sorry. You should probably go watch that. It's obviously gonna be the last video on my channel. But yeah, sadly, Speedway was killed by a rat in the early morning. I think it was early morning on Wednesday, but I might be wrong on that. That's sad, but obviously that's never going to happen. And number 3, does muscle beat import every time? I think it's a common fact that import beats muscle every time. So yeah, I think if you put a Dodge Charger and an R32, you know, on a track, I think it's R32 every single day of the week. So to say that muscle would win is like let's be honest, anything American isn't going to win. So, yeah, I mean, Japanese and the European cars for the win. Americans only know how to go in straight lines. That's fact. Everything you see on this channel is 100% factual. But the next question is from Zhao, and his question is, what do you hate more, the Toyota Prius or the Fiat Multipla? So, hate's a strong word. Hate's a very strong word. And I don't hate either of the cars, you know, like, hate is a strong fucking word. But if I had to pick one out of the two, well, it'd have to be the Fiat Multipla, wouldn't it, really? Because, I mean, the Toyota Prius it's a hybrid. Like, I can't be rolling around in a hybrid. So it'd have to be the Multipla, really. Okay, the next question is from Mr. Black Eyes 01, and his questions are, well, his one question is, what is your car wish list for Forza 6 for cars that haven't been in any Forza game? This is a really weird one because there's literally no cars that I want that haven't already been in a Forza game. R32, obviously. I guess the Salati could be cool. But honestly, like, all the cars that I've ever wanted are in Forza. So I guess I'm going to go on a limb and say that I haven't got a wish list. I think if they just bring back some old classics from Forza 4, and if they just keep up the good work with that, like they did in Horizon, the game will be fine. The game will be fine, and I'm sure they'll nail it on the head. Okay, the next question is from DanchoOfficial, and his questions are, do you like anime? If you do, which is your favourite one? Initial D and Wango Midnight don't count. And would you rather have the car of your dreams or the girl of your dreams? Oh, that's a pretty cool question. Anyway, do you like anime? Not really. I'm not sure why Initial D and Wango Midnight don't count. I mean, they seem pretty legit. But besides that, no, I don't watch any anime. To be honest, I only really watch YouTube, with the exception of some TV programs. Which I still watch every now and then. So, really, do I like anime? No. I'm not sure why Wango Midnight and Initial D don't count, because they seem pretty legit. And then number 2, could you have the car of dreams or the girl of your dreams? Now, obviously, you guys know that the car of my dreams is an R32. The girl of my dreams, well, I'm not going to announce that on on a live video, which anyone can watch. But I think I'd go for the girl, and now this is actually really thought out. So I think you think about it. To import an R32 into the UK, it's about £5,000. In the grand scheme of things, £5,000 isn't actually that much, like, in the future. So, you know, like, I think to have the girl of the dreams, it would be like something that you can't buy, in a way. So yeah, obviously I would go for the girl, and then buy the car later down the line, and probably lose the girl because I've put in so much time into the car. Like, if I had an R32, I'd just have to customize it, and next thing you know, I'd put my whole life into the car. So yeah, that is the sad life of anyone who is passionate about cars. Is like, it's so time consuming. It's so time consuming. Yeah, I hope I answered your question to the best of my ability. I mean, I don't know. It's a bit of a trick question, really, because you can have both, but in different ways. It's weird. Wait, what if the car of your dreams is the girl of your dreams? Think about it that way, like, yeah, plot twist. Okay, the next question is from Viper991S, and his questions are, which Need for Speed game do you think is the best besides Underground 2, an RX-7 or an RX-8, and what do you think of TDU2, otherwise known as Test Drive Unlimited 2? So, Need for Speed besides Underground 2, I've said this before, Underground 2 and Most Wanted 2005 are both really, really close calls for me. So I'd have to say Most Wanted 2005. RX-7 or an RX-8, I'd have to say personally for me it's an RX-8 for the basic reason I loved the RX-8 for so long. It was one of those cars which I kind of grew up with, and it was my favourite tuner for a very long time, so RX-8 definitely. And TDU2, fun story, I have this on my PC, but I haven't played it. It's one of those games that is really, really poorly optimized for PC, and I just haven't got around to playing it yet. But I do have it, and from what I've played so far, it's weird. It's really weird. But I haven't played it enough to give an actual opinion. And I might do some mods on that game. But yeah, I haven't played enough to, like, actually. I'm one of those guys that got it in a Steam sale quite a while ago, actually, and I just never got around to playing it. So Can I formulate opinions on it? I don't think I can, to be honest. Okay, the next question is from Venom L, and his questions are: if you had a chicken, would you name it Funky? How would you feel if you were stuck in Palmont City for 24 hours? And which game is more broken than Rivals? So we've obviously already gone through question 1. The link will be down in the description if you want to go watch that video. Number 2, how would you feel if you were stuck in Palmont City for 24 hours? I wouldn't really feel anything. I'd just street race in my R32 and I'd just be happy. So yeah. Like I don't know what, I'll just be pretty happy I was in Palmont for 24 hours. And then which game is more broken than Rivals? Big Rigs. Okay, the next 4 questions are from MuckRacer GT2, and his questions are: besides E3, when do you think the first official trailer will be for Need for Speed 2015? How many cars do you think Need for Speed 2015 should have at launch? Do you think customization has turned Need for Speed into the thing it is? And would you hate another Need for Speed if it had another Cops versus Racers mechanic, I guess, is the way she said here. So number 1, when do you think it's going to be announced? This is Need for Speed 2015, obviously. I honestly don't even think it's going to be announced at E3. I think it'll be announced sometime beforehand. That's what they usually do with Need for Speed games. I think it's usually in May time, but I have a feeling it could be end of April, May. Maybe early start of June. Like, I'm not sure when's E3 this year. I don't know when E3 is this year, but it'll be before E3. Is when they release the first teaser trailer, and then when we actually see gameplay will be at E3. That's what they usually do. I mean, it's pretty predictable. I'm hoping that's how they do it. So obviously we can get the name and stuff. We can get ourselves hyped for E3 beforehand. But yeah, they usually announce the name and stuff before E3. Probably the end of this month, start of next month, maybe the middle of next month, hopefully, is what I'm hoping for. And that's what I'm predicting at the moment. But we'll see. We'll have to keep our fingers crossed and see what happens. Number 2, how many cars do you think are going to be in Need for Speed 2015 at launch? I honestly don't know. Enough to keep me satisfied and not to complain. So I'm hoping a lot, basically. More than the crew. I'm hoping a lot of cars get into launch. As well as having a lot of cars, I would like a diverse range of cars. You know, anything from an R32 to an FD to a Mustang to a Koenigsegg or whatever. You know, I want a big range. Do you think Need for Speed is the thing it is because of customization? So basically, do you think customization made Need for Speed? No, I think it's a combination of, you know, following with the times and having great gameplay mechanics. Need for Speed has always had great gameplay mechanics. You know, whether you like drifting or not, a lot of people do like the criterion drifting in games, hence why it's came back over and over again. And I'm one of those guys, I like criterion drifting, fucking shoot me. You know, I think it's a great mechanic, and I think it worked really well, especially Pop Shoot 2010, Rivals, etc, etc. And would you hate another Need for Speed if it was Cops versus Racers? I don't think, I wouldn't hate it. I'd hate it if it was called Underground 3, but I wouldn't hate it, you know, if it was that. I think the people that would hate it would be the people who are making it, because they wouldn't get as much sales. Let's face it, we know by now that people want an Underground 3 inspired game or an Underground 3 game straight up. So we'll have to see, really. But I wouldn't hate it. No, I mean, I don't hate any game, really. Like, I might say I do. I don't think I've ever said I have, but, you know, like, I don't hate anything, to be honest. Hate's a strong word. Hate, like, it means you want to kill someone. Like, I fucking hate that guy. You're fucking good. You know, like, hate's a pretty fucking huge word to use. So no, I don't think, no, I wouldn't hate it, no. Okay, the next question is from Feely the Dragon, and his questions are: what's your favourite non-racing game? I believe I answered this last week, but I'll just go through it quickly again. What's your favourite car that's named after an animal? That actually exists. And how epic would it be if Need for Speed 2015 had elements of customization from Underground and the crew? Okay, so number 1, what's your favourite racing game? I think I said Halo 2 last week. Yeah, Halo 2. Hey, Halo 2 is my favourite. I don't know. I think it is. The Halo Master Chief Collection. There you go. That's cheating, but I don't care. What's your favourite car named after an animal? Fucking hell. Is a Gallardo an animal? I don't know. I'm gonna go on a limb and say it's a Gallardo. A Gallardo sounds like an animal, but it probably isn't. So I don't really know what cars are named after. I mean, does Godzilla count? Because that's an R32. That's any GTR. So I'm going to say Godzilla. And, you know, going off with the R32. How epic would it be if Need for Speed 2015 had elements of customization from Underground and the Crew? The Crew had shit customization, so I don't think that would be that epic, to be honest. So if it was Underground, that'd be great, but the Crew was that's shit customization. Not what I was expecting at all, so I think I'd be pretty disappointed if it had the Crew customization, to be honest. Okay, the next question is from SilverFox687, aka Charlie the Petrolhead, aka... Okay, I lost that one there. But his questions are, if you bought a chicken, how funky would it be? What are you looking for as your first car? And what would you rather drive for the rest of your life? A Natsuka GTK, a Natsuka GTK, or a Ssangyong Rodius? So, number one, again, already gone through that. And number two, what am I looking to buy for my first car? So as you guys know, birthday was yesterday, and I got some money for driving lessons. I'm starting to get ready now, and I'm looking to buy a Polo R-Line, and I'll get some pictures up now if I remember. I'm looking to buy a Polo R-Line. This is what it looks like stock. As you can see, it looks pretty boring, really. And then over the time I own it, I kind of want to transform it into something like this. So kind of give it that flushed stance look. Pop some new rims on it, probably some BBSRS inspired rims or something across those lines, and then kind of just give it that kind of like Rocket Bunny stanced low to the ground look. But it depends how much it's going to cost and if I can even afford it in the first place. You know, it's going to take me at least a year to save. And then obviously all the add-ons and stuff I put onto it are going to cost loads as well. So it depends, but I really want a Polo R-Line. I mean, I know it's like £2,000 to insure, £3,000 to buy, which takes up to £5,000. And then my dad said he'll pay for half, so that's like 2,500 quid. So we'll see. But I'd love to buy an R-Line. I think that'd be so cool to have like a Polo R-Line as a first car. And because over here, the insurance is ridiculous. Like, I would buy an RX-8 if I could. You know, I can easily go out now and buy an RX-8 for £2,500. But it's the insurance which is really the problem over here. Would you rather drive the Nats GTK or a Ssangyong Rodius? The GTK, because it's a GTR basically, almost, kind of. And the last question comes from Flat4 Gaming, and his question is STI or Evo, an RB26 or an SR20, and what's your favourite Group B car? So I actually had to Google the last question because I wasn't sure what a Group B car was, and then it was like rally cars, and I don't follow like rally racing generally, so kind of I read through the car list and I was like, that makes more sense. But anyway, back to question one, STI or Evo. I'd say I'm more of a fan of the Imprezas generally. So I'd have to say, I'd have to say STI. So yeah, I mean, it depends really. Like I like both of them, but I think the older Evos are nicer, but the newer Imprezas are not. It depends really. It depends. No, I'm gonna go with my gut, and I'm gonna say STI. Number two, would you rather have an RB26 or an SR20? It has to be an RB26, obviously, because it comes from that line of GTRs, and I love the GTRs. And then number three, what's your favourite Group B car? So hold up, I actually need to get this list up now. So, I might as well read out all of the cars, because there's not actually many here. So you've got the Audi Quattro, the Austin Metro, the Citroen BX, the Ferrari 288 GTO, the Ford Escort RS 1700T, the Ford RS 200, the Lancia Delta S4, the Lancia Rally 037, Mazda RX-7, Mitsubishi Starion, the Nissan Silvia, the Opel Manta, the Peugeot 205, the Porsche 911, the Porsche 959, the Renault 5 Turbo, and the Toyota Celica. So now I've answered that question for you. I'm going to say it's either the 911, the Silvia, or the RX-7. I mean, it has to be between one of those three. I don't think I could pick between those three. I'd say it's between the Silvia and the 911. The older 911, that is. That's like the first gen 911. Well, not, is it the first gen 911? I mean, I'm on Wikipedia now, so I might as well check. It's the 1989 911. I can't remember what the model number is. Is that the 930? Is that the 930? It might be the 930. I've not got a clue. Yeah, the 1980s 911 or the Sylvia. Couldn't pick between the two. And that rounds it up for this week's Ask Hippo. We've actually gone to 20 minutes. Shit the bed, that's a long time. And I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure to smack that like button, subscribe, dislike if you did not like the video, but please let me know what you didn't like down in the comments down below. And I will see you in the next video. Peace.